to the Communication Studies Podcast, coming to you from Southern Illinois University, Carbondale. This is a production of the School of Communication Studies. My name is Justin Young. I am a faculty member here in the department, and you are listening to episode 0 of this podcast. So what is episode 0, and why even create an episode 0? Well, 2 reasons. One, we need content to upload into an RSS feed so that we can create it and get our podcasts up onto different distribution platforms. So your Spotify, your Google, your Apple, have it all up there ready to go when we start producing our regular episodes. So we need content there first to get that all up and running. So an episode 0 works really well for that. The second reason is I kind of want to give a little background on what this whole podcast is about and why I think it's a good idea to create a podcast. So basically, as somebody who's been teaching communication in one form or another for close to 20 years at this point, I find that oftentimes what we do and what we're actually teaching is kind of an unknown to people outside of our field. That's probably true of most academic fields in reality. But sometimes people assume, well, I know what communication is. I know how to talk to someone. Why do I need an entire major in that? And so I think it's worth exploring exactly what goes on in the field of communication. Our school is particularly focused on communication studies, but we're going to branch out. We're going to look at the entire field of communication. So we might talk to people who are more into journalism or video production or all sorts of different areas in communication, even some that are more tangentially connected back to our field. But that's the goal for this. So each week, it'll be me talking to someone different, faculty within our department, graduate students, about what they teach, about their research, what their interests are, and also like kind of going out and getting people who are guests outside of just our school. And then as part of that, we'll also be having discussions about what do these things mean. You know, when we talk about public relations, people in the field definitely know what public relations is. People outside the field, most of their idea of public relations comes from television and movies, right? Depictions, Sex and the City, characters on there working in public relations. And so we want to kind of demystify the field of communication so that everybody has a pretty good idea about what we're doing and why it's important, and also how it can apply to other fields and apply in their lives, right? So techniques on intercultural communication, how can you take that and apply it into something that you're doing professionally, or even something that you're doing as a charitable cause, right, in your part-time. So that's the idea behind this podcast. We'll be back in the next week or two with our first episode, and we hope that you'll subscribe and tune in each week and listen, and then, you know, give us feedback. This is going to be a fairly informal podcast in the sense that it's really just going to be a conversation. So if you have feedback, if you have ideas, go ahead and send those my way. You can email me at justin.young@siu.edu. And of course, you can always give us like feedback on the pages for the actual podcast. You know, certainly give us those positive ratings and everything. That helps our podcast be found more. So, all right, that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you'll tune in for future episodes. Stay well out there, everyone.